Hello, welcome back to Sterling Armory. So we had the chance to test out our new sparring blade. This is probably going to end up being my personal sparring blade. So I posted some pictures and we talked about this is kind of our new design. So it's basically a Type 15 sword from the halfway point of the blade down. So Type 15 longsword, and then from the half of the point down to the tip is a fetter. So I don't know if you can see the distal taper in the screen there. But after the halfway point, it turns into a fetter, and then we have our new tip shape here, which is just slightly flared in the width, but also very flared in the thickness. So it's a nice, soft tip. The first third of the blade is very stiff, and then the second saying thirds here. The first half of the blade is very stiff. The second half of the blade is where all the flex is. And so I showed up to our local HEMA club, which is Black Flag HEMA. And I didn't even ask them at the time. I should have. But I just kind of stopped by, and they do Thursday night sparring night for longsword. So I stopped by and I said, hey, do you mind if I use this? And do you mind giving it a try yourself? And thankfully the club owner, Alex, and Seth, also one of the longtime students there, gave it a try. So let's see what they thought. Yeah. Hey, we're here at Black Flag HEMA, Tampa's best team in school, and we're testing out the new Sterling Armory blade, sparring blade that we have just designed. And Alex here has been graceful enough to test it out. I'm testing it myself, but these guys are far better than I am at this. So, yeah. So we wanted to get some quick impressions, and I come from a slightly different background. I'm more Fiore style, so I like the shorter hilt. So I know already that he wants a longer handle.
I do, yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So I just tested it. We probably did like 20 passes, and it feels good. It feels two things. A, like I want to be wearing armor because I really want to get into a bind and I want to stay there, okay, which is very Fiore.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit like I definitely do want the longer hilt. I ended up hanging out down here on the wheel a lot to try to compensate, which is not bad. Doing more of the German stuff makes it a little bit more difficult to overgrip and turn into my thumb grip. So I'm a little, grabbing that a little hard. This hilt length with either a pair or a scent stopper would probably be fine for me, right? I like a little bit longer hilt, but like the hilt dimensions are fine, the guard is fine, the rounding's all fine. It's a very comfortable hilt, especially without gloves. And like that's really like, this is a great hilt size for me, ungloved. It is a little heavy in the hand for me. I'm used to, just for like total transparency, I'm used to a Regenier with a medium flex, is typically what I fence with.
Those are about 3 pounds?
They're about 13 to 1400 grams. whatever that
Yeah,
is.
we're just under 3. So as a reference, that's about 3. This is just under 3.5 pounds. So this is a half pound heavier than what he's used to.
And I will say it doesn't feel a half pound heavier. I actually expected it to feel a lot heavier, and I will also say
we do want to get some weight out of that because I think it's a little heavy too. Still.
I was really expecting to want more reach out of it. I'm sure it looks on camera like a relatively short long sword, like a very Fiore sized sword. It is only about 1.5 inches shorter than the Meyer sword I used. I did not feel shorted on reach. I was really expecting, but the shorter hilt compensates for that because you're limited by your back shoulder, right? And normally I would be limited here, so I can center up a lot easier with it, which makes sense when I want to be here and I want to be in, Pasta Donna and Fampone or whatever the Italian ones are, right? A lot of the Fiore positions are very comfortable in it. I don't like not having a shield. That's me.
Yeah, so
right? That's a me thing.
Yeah, and we know that. So this is a answer to. We get a lot of requests for. Hey, we want a sparring blade that's not a feather.
Right, and that's exactly what I was going to say. But I've got 2 of those. Right. Yeah. I've got 2 of those. I mean, like, it's extremely durable. I did not feel like I was getting bullied around. I felt like I had a lot of presence in the bind. Like I said, I really, this sword wants to be half-sworded, right? It is very comfortable to let go of with one hand, which I've never used a fetter that felt that way. This sword was very comfortable to be here and hit extension and get up to here, right? So any limitations of the shorter hilt, I think the balance that wants to be one-handed or to be half-sworded is fine.
Does it feel like it might be hitting too hard, or is it okay?
Well, Seth's behind the camera, and I was fencing him, so.
No. No.
That's one thing we're worried about when you're doing these designs. Because a lot of these, they hit way too hard. So.
Yeah, and you can see there's all that flex is out here in the last third, which is great. I'm not putting a ton of pressure in here at all. But this is I imagine if I over-penetrated and made a big mistake and was hitting here, probably not a lot of fun, but that's not going to be fun with anything, right? But where I tend to hit, which is out here in this last third, I didn't feel more resistance than usual. I did definitely get to sneak in a couple of shots that I would not normally sneak in with one of my fetters, and that does have to do with the flex. I don't tend to throw from the flat into like a Prellhow and try to turn it around, because some of the fetters with all their flex in the middle, they'll bounce, and then I'll miss my target because it's still doing this on the way back. So I found myself, I could throw from a flat angle without worrying about the sword whipping offline. Right? And I landed one of those against the mask where I got to go from here and roll all the way through into more of like a Shield-How kind of action without worrying about coming off on the flat, flexing over there, and then missing. Right? So that was really nice. I will say the other sword that I used for a long time was the Reginier Tournament Fetter. This is definitely lighter than that. So this is like, right now, it's dead between the two for me on weight.
I think on paper
maybe
not a heavy one.
The tournament fetters hit like trucks, in my opinion, and they're very durable, but they are a much stiffer sword. And you can hold the 2 of them side by side and press and see the difference in the flex. And I can say this for sure has more flex than that. So if you took a little bit more weight out of it, I think then it'll get nimble and still as sturdy, and actually would be very nice. So I like it. Yeah, it's fun. Currently, it would not be my everyday sword. It would be my sword to do Italian longsword. And I imagine somebody who does body or does Fiore would have a much stronger opinion of whether that's accurate or not. But me, as a German longsword guy, and a late period German longsword guy on top of it, right? Because that's the thing is, this might be a fine sword for somebody who does earlier Lichtenauer, or does like, Von Danzig and stuff like that. They really like to be in the bind. They like to be potentially shiltless here. And then actually, I actually really think this would be a fantastic sword for learning harness fecting as well. So like, if I were getting into harness fecting and wanted to start doing either Fiores or the German harness stuff, this is what I would want. I'm about 6'1" for reference, right? So like, this is about the most comfortable I could carry without it being a nuisance.
That one's I keep forgetting. It's 38 or 39. I forgot how long I made it.
We'll say 38 and a half.
Yeah, 38 and a half.
But yeah, I think you did a really good job. I think for...
So with gloves, I'm wondering should we beef the handle up a little thicker?
Thicker?
Or thinner?
I wouldn't. No? So I have relatively big hands. I don't know.
I was feeling, like when I was using it, I felt it was a little too, I kind of wanted it thicker.
Really? So I have thick but relatively slender hands. I like to be able to wrap all the way around the hilt. This is almost too thick for me.
Too thick. Okay.
Yeah. And just for comparison, right? You can see the waist on that is extreme, and a lot of people don't really care for that, right? This is probably going to be a little more universal. It is a very narrow profile, which is what saved it for me. It is much more ovoid than this is. This is a little bit squarer.
Is it easy to feel like?
On this one, yeah, for sure. Which is ultimately the perk of the wheel pommel, right? It was a little harder to roll around in my hand, but boy, I knew where that edge was when it was coming down. So that was nice. But yeah, cool. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think for certain tasks, it's probably close to the perfect sword. I think version 2 might be. So.
Yeah. We'll be continuing, and we have arming sword coming out that we're gonna play with. You guys do any arming swords?
We do sword and buckler, but late.
Yeah.
We do Marazzo Manzolino late.
So you're using long blades for that too, right?
Yeah, and with complex guards. Complex.
Yeah, gotcha.
But eventually, when I figure out how to read I-33, then I'll hit you up with some arming swords.
We gotta reach out to Matt Easton, hey, and help us. Thanks to Alex and Seth for holding the camera, and everyone here at Black Flag. And if you wanna feel free, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're TampaBayHEMA.com. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, then hit us up.
Facebook, it's Black Flag HEMA.
Yeah, we're Black Flag HEMA on Facebook, and on we're around on Instagram if you search for hashtags. But we do Myers Longsword on Thursday nights here in North Tampa, and we do rapier, mostly 17th century Italian rapier on Monday nights as well. So
He's been doing it for how long have you been?
I've been fencing since 2006. And I crossed over from classical fencing to HEMA in 2014,
Yeah, I know.
2015.
You guys are really good, so if you want a great lesson, please come down.
Yeah, I'll try to find someone to give you one.